Right, where am I? Because it's very dark. I've picked a really dark spot here. So, quick initial thoughts. While I try and catch my breath here because I've been up and down hill. So I'll quickly turn the light on here. So what I'll show you is I'll show you some of the modes. It's the Nitecore HC65, but it's the V2. I was very excited to try this because if you remember, the V1 was one of my favourite ever dedicated headlamps. So we'll turn it on, short press, and that's your lowest possible mode. 1 lumen. You may or may not be able to see that. I can just see that, but it is on. So that's your main beam. It's using a TIR this time rather than the sort of 180 degrees smooth reflector that was used on the V1. Very impressive. I like to see a 1 lumen mode, you know, bare basics there. So very nice. Then you press it again and it goes to low. That's pretty good. Look, I've got this at head height. It's on my head. I'm not cheating or anything, trying to make it look better or worse or anything. So look, that's pretty good. We'll twiddle around here. I could walk by that, no problem. Just enough. In fact, we'll walk, just to prove it, we'll walk along a bit. Go up this hill. So that's low. So you had ultra low, then low. So medium, pretty decent. Now top spec, this is medium obviously, but top spec you're hitting 1750 on the SST40 LED here, which is an interesting choice. So you get a little bit of throw out into the distance, even though it is a TIR. So this is medium, pretty decent. It's off this ridge and onto that path there. You can still see it's pushing out, and it's nice and it's pretty wide. I mean, the initial one, the V1, had a very wide beam, but that's exactly what you want as a headlamp. Because look, if I'm walking along, I don't want a tiny little spot to look at. I want peripheral vision. I want to see what the hell's going on. And that's what this allows. Although you could argue that the H1 from Woburn does what the V1 does, but it's half the price. Yes, it does, but this is the V2, so it gets rid of things like micro USB charging, which was a bugbear I didn't like. Pretty good. I wonder if I can go down here without falling down. Let's have a look. Right, let's go down here. So let's go into high. So there's high, so pretty high. So let's come down here a bit. I've got this in 4K HDR, 10-bit colour. You should get decent reproduction if you've got an HDR monitor or TV. So look at that push. This is only high, this isn't even turbo. Look at that push down there for a headlamp. That's bloody fantastic. Really impressed. So you can calibrate what you're looking at. I'll show you some other lights as well in a moment, but I just wanted to show you this. So we'll go to turbo. So in fact, look, let's look for something that we can't quite see. So there, so you can, goodness me, look at the stretch on that. So we'll go to turbo. Right, that's turbo, that's maximum. Look, quite a white light on this, but look at that, it's fantastic. And peripheral on the left and the right, brilliant, unless I tilt my head. Look, very impressed. It does have ATR, which is automatic temperature regulation. In other words, rather than a timed step down, it will sensibly step down due to heat. It's about 3 to 4 degrees where I am. Watch. See my breath there? It is genuinely cold, so that will give better results than you would get in a hot region. Let's look at the river there. So it will step down. In fact, I'll leave this running until it steps down, then I'll show you some of the other modes. I did some testing before there. This is sort of day 2 or 3 of my testing. Day 3 proper, but it will step down markedly from that 1750 quoted by Nitecore. Brilliant though, you get the cell with it. 3,500 milliamp hours on an 18650. Really good. It is a dedicated headlamp though. Look, you can see that reflection over there. It's a dedicated headlamp, so you can't take it off. It's not like one of these 90 degrees where you can take it off and use it for something else. An example of a 90 degree would be something like, you know, like the Armitech. So there's the Armitech Wizard Pro V3 with the TIR there, nice TIR, so you get a nice diffuse beam. So still going fine here, no problem. It hasn't stepped down, have you noticed that? That's got to be a couple of minutes. Still hasn't stepped down. Let me just test it. Doesn't feel particularly hot. I would say this gets less hot than the older one, the V1, and I'll show you that in a moment, but this is impressive. Really like the package. It's all TIR, you get a red light mode. In fact, I can't seem to get this to step down. I did before, but I was running it. So I'll show you some of the modes. So if we turn that off, if we double click, that takes you straight to top mode, right? So double click from off. Okay, so this is red light. Now you probably can't see that, so I'll point it down to the floor. Now that's quite low. I think you get about 30 hours out of that, which is pretty impressive. Very low, but interestingly, in comparison to V1, the HC65 V1, which only had 1 red light mode, this has 2. Well, it's got 3 really, but 2 intensities. So if I press that again, brighter. I love that feature because sometimes red light modes can be just not enough. They're great for up close stuff, but then you want a little bit more pushed. I could walk by that. That would be great for hunting, fishing. I like that a lot. Obviously it's not pushing out, look. You're not getting a lot of distance there. I'll move my head just to show that. Not a lot. Next mode, you have a red flasher, which is more of a beacon mode really. And then the next mode should be high CRI, I think. There, high CRI, so it's a 90 plus CRI, so your colour rendering index is higher than the main beam. I suspect the main beam's about 70. I haven't looked yet. Although it's it's a Luminous SST 40, and I'll walk along here without trying to fall off over the proverbial. But not bad. Look, I could walk by that. I think you get about 20 hours on this. I think you got 20. Was it 24 or 25 on the V1? But the intensity seemed less. I used a slightly different TIR setup. But that's okay, look. Colour rendering's pretty good. Look at my hand there. Nice. In fact, let's find a tree. What do you think of that, look? Colour rendering should be pretty good. This is, like I say, I'm recording in 10-bit to try and give you the best possible look at what I'm actually seeing. So pretty decent look. Let's scroll that up a little bit to find some more leaves. I like it. So far, very, very impressed. It's basically the V1 plus Type C. And then you're getting a lot more output. So instead of around 1,000 or whatever, I'll put it back to the main beam there. There's beacon mode, SOS, red light mode, and then back to main beam there. If I can get it on. There you go, there's the different modes. Brilliant, really impressive. Let's come down the river here and let's have a little bit more look. And then what I'll do is I'll show you some other lights just so you can think, well, okay, in isolation this looks great, but what does it look like in comparison to other lights? You know, you really need that comparative aspect, otherwise it becomes very difficult to gauge what it is you're looking at. And anyone can fiddle footage these days. I see a lot of these timed exposures on certain manufacturers' websites. You think they've just done a timed exposure on that to make it look brighter, and it really annoys me. Although to be fair, it's mainly the eBay sort of cheapies that do that. So, if you're wondering why there's loads of stuff all over the floor, there's been a bit of a storm, so there's stuff all over the shop. Get out of the way. Right. So let's look at some comparatives here. So this is the V2 here, so we'll take this off. Now bear with me, it might take me a little while because I'm doing this one-handed in the dark and I don't have a bag. So let's turn that off. So that was the Nightcore, the V2. So we'll go to the Armitech. There you go, Armitech. I put in the two highest modes. So that's the highest mode there on the Armitech TIR reflector. Very, very nice. Warmer tint, much warmer tint. Slightly, possibly a slightly higher output. Ever so slightly or similar. Anyway, but pretty decent. This does heat up pretty fast. But the ratings on this, it's something like 10 meters water resistance, 10 meter drop rating or something massive like that. Although to be fair, the V2 on the Nightcore HC65, it's got a drop rating of 2 meters and a IPX8, in other words, waterproof to 2 meters for about an hour. So pretty impressive. Nice to see that. I was trying some charging whilst using, which I couldn't get to use, which is a bit worrying. But I will mark them down for that, obviously, because as a headlamp, it's not an essential, but to me, it's a massive benefit, especially when you're camping and things like that. So. V3 of the Wizard Pro here. There is a newer version of this and they call it the Elf C2 or something. Don't ask me why they've changed the name. I've got absolutely no idea. It's still on for about $100, so I'm not paying that for a light. So pretty decent though, look. Nice coverage. So this is just to calibrate what you're looking at. So turn that off and then put that in the other pocket. And then we'll go to another light. So if I can find it, I think this is the SP40 budget sort of headlamp here. So turn that on, that's its lowest. Yeah, that's your turbo. Very, very cheap this. You can get this with battery, the whole kit, dirt cheap. Very impressive. Yeah, it's not quite as good as all the other lights, but it's nice and wide. Look at the beam, look. See the beam far left there and then far right? So perfect for hiking. Wide beam, very cheap, very effective. It's got that little spot in the middle there which pushes out. I can't say enough good things about this for the price. Well done so far, and really, really impressed. Decent tint as well, pretty impressed. Very well done. We'll have a look at this up on the cliff there, just to show you. You can see I'm using the SP40 there. Very, very impressive. So turn that off. If I can remember the setting, it's that one. Get off. There you go. Let's try another one. Okay, now if you thought, you know what, rather than a little bit of power, I want maximum power. Here is the right angle. It's a 21700, so I'm cheating a little bit. It's a bigger battery, but if you just want to go for maximum power, this is a quad emitter on a TIR, fired by Fireflies. Watch this. So not very bright there, but wait until I put it into turbo. Watch. Bang! Look at that. It's basically a searchlight. Look at that. It's like a searchlight on a boat. Look. I mean, that is ridiculous. And it does step down 4,500 lumens, insane amount of lumens. Look at that. It's like a searchlight. Fantastic. It's more of a gimmick though. It's slightly top heavy. You get droopage because of the design, but watch. In fact, it probably starts stepping down about now. Let's watch. Yeah, you see that's stepping. Yeah, it's starting to step. So you don't get that 4,500 continuously, but that's still bright. Very nice light there. And it's got the added feature of the ice white auxiliary LEDs. I think that's really beautiful. I like that. So we'll put that in there. Let's look at some more just for a laugh. I think this is the H1, maybe. Yes, Woburn H1. There you go. Got it on low there. Let's put it up a bit. Doop, 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 and then up. This was a cheap competitor actually. Half press. I'll try and get it at its highest. There you go, there's a thingy. Turn it on. I can't remember how to do it. That's the beacon modes. Turn it off. If you hold it down, you get a high CRI mode. There's the high CRI. Pretty good. Looks a little bit sort of yellower in comparison to the Nightcore's high CRI mode, which is interesting. But it does have one of them. Press it again, and there's your red light mode. One red light mode, pretty good. So very similar to the V1 on the Nightcore HC65. And then the main beam is, you just turn it on, I think. There's the main beam. Very good. Not quite as good as the V1 on the HC65. The HC65 V1 has a slightly wider beam, which I think is slightly better, although this one seems to push a little bit further. So it depends what you want. Do you want a little bit more push? But now you can argue if you want more push, just get the V2, the HC65, which is exceptional. So pretty good. Very cheap alternative though. That's the H1 by Woburn. They did a really good job on that. I can't fault them a lot on that. And then the last one is the old one, I say old, it's not that old, HC65 V1. We'll quickly show you that because I've waffled long enough here. So there's the main beam. We'll go up here, straight to turbo. If I can remember how to do it, from off. Or do you turn it on and then double click? I can't remember. I think what you do is, there you go, there, main beam. So look, there's a comparison. Look, I'll show you this, then I'll show you the new one. So it's just as a comparison, look at that. There's the main beam. I'll turn it down. Interesting. And then you've got flicker mode, but I'll turn that on to its red light mode. There's the red light mode. Not bad, not bad. It's kind of in between the two modes on the V2 in regards to brightness. It does the job. Hold it down again from off, and then I should get high CRI. Nope. There, high CRI. Hang on, I'm going to do this one-handed. I apologise here. So there, I've got that head height. Not bad. High CRI. Let's go to some leaves and stuff. What do you think of that? Not bad on those brambles. Let's try the water. Let's get up to the water here. So high CRI. Not bad, eh? Not bad. And let's show the main beam again. If I can get it to work. There's the main beam, and then I'll show you the new one just so you can compare them. So there's the main beam there. That's on its maximum, which is good. It's really good, and it's very wide. I like it. It's an excellent light. Workhorse. However, turn that off and we'll go back to the V2. Big difference. Boom. Look at the turbo on that there. Much brighter, pushing further, more through, wider. Slightly wider. I mean, it was an excellent job on the V1, but there's the V2. Very impressive. And then I'll show you the other modes. So turn that off. If I can get it to turn off. There you go, it's off. Right, red light mode. There's red light mode. Low anyway, so can you see it's slightly low? Then you press it higher, so that's brighter than the other one, isn't it? I can walk by that, no problem. And then let's have high CRI. There's high CRI, pretty good. Let's go back to those leaves just so you can compare again. There's those leaves. I think that's brighter. Better, brighter. I like that. And then a quick look at the water. And then you've probably had enough of me waffling. to be quite honest. Let's look down here. So high CRI, pretty decent, nice reproduction there. Very impressed with this so far. Like I say, I apologise, this is early days. I haven't done a full review yet. I will, give me time. I'm getting there. So go back to the main beam, so that's off. I can turn it off. Get it off, there you go. Right, off. And then we'll go back to the main beam. There, main beam, boom, nice. I'll put that head height just so you can see what you would get. So very impressive. Type C, 1750 lumens, very bright look, slightly white but not bad. You've got the high CRI, you've got your red light mode, very impressed. Type C, free battery. On the old one it was 3,400 milliamp hours. On the new one you get a battery from Nitecore which does, I think, pushes at least 8 amps. It's probably about 10. You need to use at least an 8 amp continuous draw to get the turbo. Very impressed. Look at that into the distance there, loving it. So really good. I'm so happy to be testing this because, like I say, if you remember, I gave the V1 a very high rating, loved it, still love it, still use it. This one just seems to take that and make it better. Type C specifically, I'm very happy, but I'm a little bit worried about not running while it's charging, but I will look into that for the full review. I'm going to do at least 2 weeks on this, so these are just initial thoughts, and I hope I've provided a few little comparisons there so you can look at them and say, all right, I see what that looks like. So there you go. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Enough of me waffling. I'm off before I fall into this water here. I've got a lot more testing to do. In fact, I might have a little run in it to see if you could run in it. It's not really made for running. It's more like a multi-function light. Look at that, still hasn't stepped down. Very impressive. Doesn't feel particularly hot, although right on the end there's a little bit of heat there. Anyway, right, enough of me waffling. I'm off. Right, bye-bye.